All right, welcome to part 2. On this question, it says find the volume and the surface area of the pyramid. So let's start by finding the volume. Very similar to our last question. Remember, volume for a pyramid is 1/3 times area of your base times your height. First thing we have to figure out, what is our base? Notice our base here is that rectangle, or in this case, square. So it's just base times height. So 1/3, and then in parentheses, 6 times 6, those are my dimensions at that bottom, times my height. Now, a lot of people want to say 5 is your height. 5 is just the height of that triangle. We want the height of the actual pyramid, which in this case is 4. First things first, 6 times 6. So 1/3 times 36 times 4. When you do this, a couple ways. I like to do 36 times 4 first, then divide by 3. There are different ways, but you should get the same answer of 48. Don't forget your units. We'll just put U for units, and it's cubed because it's volume. Second part of this question is to find the surface area. So this is a rectangular pyramid, or a square pyramid if you'd like to call it that. So the center right there, my base, is going to be a square or a rectangle, and then my sides are all triangles. Label the dimensions. We have 6 by 6 as our base. The height of all of my triangles is 5. The 4 does not matter when we're finding the surface area. So we have one shape A. Let's make that our square right in the middle. And then all of our triangles are the same, so they can each be shape B. Area of shape A would just be base times height. So 6 times 6 to get 36. Shape B, those are our triangles. Our base was 6, our height was 5, but divide by 2 since it's a triangle. 6 times 5 is 30. Divided by 2 is 15. We have 4 shape Bs, so multiply by 4 to get 60. Add together 36 plus 60 to get a surface area of 96 units squared. All right, the following rectangular prism was built with 1/2-inch blocks. Find the length, width, height, and then the volume. So rectangular prism, each one's a 1/2 a block. So remember, a 1/2 plus a 1/2 here, that would equal 1 hole. There's another hole, and then last but not least, the length here would be 3. And then the width, same idea. We have 4 blocks, so 1/2 plus a 1/2, there's 1 hole. 1/2 plus another 1/2 is another hole. So my width is going to be 2. And then my height here, 1/2 plus a 1/2 will give me a height of just 1 hole. So to find the volume, we're going to be doing 3 times 2 times 1, which would just give us 6. And they tell us they're 1/2-inch blocks, so it's going to be inches cubed for our units. Next one, find the surface area of the paper bag. So just a reminder, in a paper bag, you don't have a lid. So when we draw our net, it's a rectangular prism, so all 4 sides are rectangles with 2 bases that are rectangles as well. But we're going to cross out one of those bases since we don't have a lid on a paper bag. Next thing we have to do is label our different dimensions. The bottom of our bag, that's one of our bases. So I'll label that first. That's our 3 by 4. And that 4 can be placed all around, and 3 can be used as well for a couple of those side lengths. Last but not least, the long part of the bag, or the height there, is 6. So we can label our 6 all the way down. Labeled our sides, so now we can label our different shapes. We have a shape A, we'll make that our 3 by 4. Shape B's can be our 3 by 6s, and then shape C's can be our 6 by 4s. So finding the area, shape A, 3 times 4, which is just 12. I only have one shape A, so I'm going to move on. Shape B, 3 by 6, which is 18, but I do have 2 shape B's, so multiply by 2 to get 36. Shape C was our 4 by 6. 4 times 6 is 24, but I have two shape C's, so 24 times 2 would be 48. Last but not least, add our important numbers, which are 12, 36, and 48. When you add those together, you should get 96. Put your units on it, which would be inches squared. Next one, name each 3D figure below. Name each 3D figure represented by the nuts below. So first things first, couple reminders. 1, you can never have more than 2 bases, so keep that in mind. 2, your first word is named from the base. So if the base is a triangle, it's triangular. If it's a rectangle, it's rectangular. And then a pyramid only has 1 base, a prism only has 2. So looking at this first one, I see 4 triangles and 1 rectangle. Remember, you can never have more than 2 bases, so I know that rectangle has to be my base, so it's going to be rectangular. And since I only have 1 of them, I know it's going to be a pyramid. Looking at the next one, same idea. I do see 4 triangles, but if you think about a pyramid, right, your sides are triangles as well. So it's very similar to that first one we just looked at, except my base is a triangle. So this is a triangular pyramid. Last but not least, I see 2 triangles and 3 rectangles. Well, 3 rectangles automatically tells me those can't be my bases. So these 2 triangles have to be my bases, which makes this a triangular prism because I have 2 bases, which makes it automatically a prism. All right, if you fill this rectangular prism with half feet cubes, how many cubes could you fit inside? Each of these side lengths is 5 feet. Well, if half feet cubes, 2 half feet cubes fit in 1 foot, right? A half plus a half is a whole. So in 5 feet, I could fit 10 cubes. So each of my side length, width, and height would be 10 by 10 by 10. So to figure out how many cubes I could fit inside the whole prism, 10 times 10 times 10 will give me my answer of 1,000 cubes. All right, last one, talking about cross sections. Name the 2D shape that you will get if you cut each of the 3D figures parallel and perpendicular to the base. So first one, triangular prism. Remember, a parallel cut will always get you the shape that is the base, and a perpendicular cut will always get you the shape that is the sides. So in a triangular prism, my base is a triangle. So if I cut it parallel, I would get a triangle. In a triangular prism, my sides are rectangles. So if I made a perpendicular cut, I would see a rectangle. Triangular pyramid, my base is still a triangle, so my parallel cut would get me a triangle. Perpendicular cut, my sides in a pyramid are triangles as well. So if I made a perpendicular cut here, I would see a triangle. Rectangular prism, my bases are a rectangle and my sides are a rectangle. So for both of these, perpendicular and parallel, I would see a rectangle. Rectangular pyramid, my base is a rectangle, so if I made a parallel cut, I would see a rectangle. If I made a perpendicular cut, well, my sides in a pyramid are triangles, so a perpendicular cut would show me a triangle. Cylinder, in a cylinder, you have 2 circles that are your bases. I like to think of a soup can. So if I made a parallel cut, I would see a circle. And then remember, a cylinder is, yes, it is a round, but if you unfolded it into a net, you would see 1 rectangle. So my perpendicular cut of a cylinder would show me a rectangle. And then a cone, think of an ice cream cone, your base is still a circle. So if I made a parallel cut, it would show me a circle. Perpendicular cut, that is a triangle that is wrapped around. So I would see a triangle with a perpendicular cut.